Right, had another game last night. This time it's my Bretonnians versus Warriors of Chaos with a combat-heavy, Mark of Cain heavy list. So this group of archers made the front cover today because I finally have a unit finished painting, based, and flocked, so I had to put them on there somewhere. So to give you an overview of the board, on my side, lower right, you can see we have some impassable terrain. And then on my left there's a forest, in the middle there's a tower, upper left is woods, and upper right is a hill. So when I saw the terrain, and he chose sides, so I was stuck with the bottom half, what I saw was that I'd put my trebuchet behind the impassable to make it difficult for him to get me there. I've got 10 men-at-arms, they're actually Empire Spearmen being proxied, that I was going to put to the right, and everything else of mine was going to go on the left, and I was going to use my mobility to sweep around, because it just gives me more options. I don't like being bottled up. Obviously that's not how it turned out, because when he started placing, he was putting everything in that corner, including he's got some ogres with an exalted champion, and then he's got his chaos knights with his chaos lord on a juggernaut, all coming down that side. I had so many more units than him that he had all that placed while I had still several units left. So at the very end I was stacking my units over there, coming up with a way to counter that charge, because I didn't want him just to come down and then roll down my flank. So you can see what he had up in that corner. Like I said, he's got the ogres, he's got the chaos knights, the two characters, he's got some wolfhounds. He has a level 1 sorcerer on the hill. The model he used here he changed during the game. This one shows the Mark of Nurgle, but he didn't, and so he changed it later on. You'll notice that. Anyway, so he's got a unit of 10 Chaos Warriors with the Mark of Nurgle. That's not 10, I'm sorry, I think he had 12. And then he had 12 Chaos Warriors with the Mark of Cain. Behind them is a Hell Cannon. In front of them are some more wolves, and then to the side are some Marauders. And then way on his right flank, my left, behind the hill, he has some Marauder Horsemen. So, on this side, like I said, I have those men-at-arms. Now they feel like they're just in my way, but on the far right I have Grail Knights with the Damsel. I have a fast cav up front, men-at-arms, small unit of Knights Errant. Trebuchet behind them, Pegasus Knights. There's my general. And with him, there's the only large target my opponent has is that Hell Cannon. And my general's outfitted to take out large targets, so I was kind of assuming that I was just going to go after his Hell Cannon. You can see I put a couple units of archers, big block of men-at-arms, some skirmishing archers in those woods. And then on this side, I have my Pegasus Knights in front of my two big blocks of knights. My Pegasus Knight's job here is to deal with this fast cav. So they're to shield my guys from the fast cav so that I can pick and choose who I want to charge with these two big blocks. So there's another overview of what we were looking at, and from the other side of the board. So, turn 1, my guys are busy praying for their ward save, of course, so he brings his guys up. I didn't ask him at the time what he was thinking with this. I probably should, just because it seemed like a real interesting move, but he moved his ogres up and angled them with his cavalry right behind them. Anyway, the other movements he made, really you can see he's deciding just to keep his infantry back and make me come to him and charge me on the one flank with his faster guys. So his fast cav, you can see he's kind of dancing around the woods there. He knows that more than in all likelihood my two big blocks of knights are going to come through that gap, and so he's there to try to harass me. So then we go to the shooting phase of turn 1, and this is beautiful. His Hell Cannon on the first turn of the game rolled a misfire, and then he rolled is either a 1 or a double 1, whatever you roll on the misfire chart. It was the worst thing possible. So not only does the Hell Cannon just totally explode, but it does D6 strength whatever wounds on every unit within 12 inches or whatever it was. It was great. So you can see the misfire die there, and you can see what he rolled on each individual die for those units. I mean, it's just one of those things that's so bad you just have to laugh at. What an awful, awful start for the game. 200 points up in smoke, and plus all those potential wounds. I think he ended up losing 3 guys out of the Nurgle group, 1 or 2 out of the Cain, and who knows. But he missed a few because of that. So on my turn, what I noticed was, one, I don't have the Hell Cannon to worry about with my general, but also since he turned that weird way, it allowed me a flank charge with my general into the side of that unit, which I didn't think I would tear him up and make him flee off the board, although that would have been nice. It occurred to me that I would probably win it, and that would hold his unit in place, which would hold up his Lord on the Juggernaut, all the Chaos Knights. I mean, he really bottled himself up right there. So I thought that was anyway, it seemed like a great opportunity for me. I brought my Pegasus Knights up because I planned to fly behind him for a rear charge into his Knights whenever I thought I'd be able to get a frontal charge with my other groups. So that's what they're doing up there. I don't know what I want to do with my fast cav, but I just moved them up. So that if I were to the left of that terrain, they would have been in the way of my archers. And in the right, they would have been in the way of everything else. I brought my men-at-arms up in case I needed some static combat res, which in hindsight was just stupid because I have one rank there and I have one rank with all my cavalry units, and those guys die a lot easier. So really it ended up just kind of being a mistake. I should have just gotten them out of the way. But what I was thinking was just move them up, and I moved my knights up, so I'm looking at my next turn. If everything's still there, my Grail Knights are going to be able to get a pretty good charge. So another look at the board. I'm moving my men-at-arms up as fast as I can. I'm shooting and with my bowmen and mainly at the wolves. I miss most everything. And you can see here I'm trying to sweep my big blocks of knights around. So in this combat, when I came in there, his Exalted Champion was in the middle of that unit. So I did, I think, 2 wounds on an ogre. He did none on me. So I got 2 wounds. He outnumbered. I won combat. He passed his test. And so at the end of that combat, he moved his Exalted Champion hero within the unit so that we would be fighting next turn. So that worked out really as well as I could have hoped. I'm a little bit nervous about our next round of combat, though. So turn 2, you can see how his knights are still just bottled up. But he took his Lord on the Juggernaut, moved him out of the unit of knights, which is a pretty smart move because now I'm worried about him charging into the flank of my general if I don't get cleared out of there real soon. Other than that, you can see he moved his wolves up. He didn't charge me, he just moved them. I'm not sure what his plan was with them. Probably actually, I have no idea what his plan was with them. You can see he's still hanging back with these guys. And now he takes his Marauder Horsemen and moves them back even more. He's really, it seems to me, afraid that my Pegasus Knights are going to charge him, so he's just making it so he can be a threat to my rear should I keep moving up. So during the combat phase of this turn, I do 1 wound on his hero. He does none on me, and he outnumbers still, so we tied combat, and nothing else happened there. So again, now I'm pretty happy with that because my turn to charge next, and I like how things are set up over there. So Brett, turn 2. Okay, so the Grail Knights charging in was an obvious choice. The Men-at-Arms charging in hindsight, although it didn't really hurt me in terms of them killing a bunch of my guys and getting combat res, that could have happened. And so in hindsight, that was just a stupid move to bring them in there. They were bringing nothing to the table in terms of helping me because they're probably not going to get any wounds on those ogres. So yeah, but anyway, that's why that's there. I took my fast cav up because I was afraid of his Juggernaut charging into the flank of my general on his next turn if I didn't break this unit. Ended up being a very critical part of the game, having those fast cav there. But that's why I did it. And you can see I went ahead and flew my Pegasus Knights behind his cavalry. Again, when I get the charge on those guys, I plan on charging with the rear with the Pegasus. Plus, especially being on the hill, I have the option of charging his Sorcerer if I feel I need to. He's only level 1. He's not doing me any harm, so I'm not really worried too much about that. Other side of the board, not a whole lot happening. You can see I'm still moving my men-at-arms up as fast as possible, moving my knights up as fast as possible. And if you recognize that impassable terrain, behind that used to be my trebuchet. I decided I would imitate his misfire roll, so I misfired, So round 1, he loses his cannon. Round 2, I lose my trebuchet. So seems fair enough. So at the end of that combat, I beat him by a lot. His ogres and his exalted champion run him down. Grail Knights get a charge into his knights, which is really as much as I could hope for. But because my stupid fast cav were in the way, my general, when he pursued, couldn't hit his general. So I just had to fly over him and land on the hill. And those men-at-arms pursued into the flank of his general, which is just totally stupid, as you probably are smarter than me and have already figured out. But when I saw this, I just knew I was in trouble on his turn. So, in the next segment, we'll see how it goes from that point on.